We thank you and praise you that we're able to come together in this country, Lord, to conduct the business of the D2 School Board. We pray for your presence here with us tonight. Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to celebrate the art students and the other celebrations we'll have tonight that are the success of those who make up our district. I pray, Lord, you would inform us, that you would give us wisdom and discernment as we deliberate the business of the body tonight, and in all things, Lord, that you would be glorified. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Good evening. Welcome to the May 11th, 2026 Dorchester District 2 Board of Trustees meeting. At this time, I would ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda and meeting minutes.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Guthrie, seconded by Ms. Powell. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, we will call for the vote. Motion carries 7 in favor. Right. I think the next item on our agenda is what most of you must be here for this evening. So we will move to our district highlights. Thank you. We've got Mr. Brian Bohannon coming up.
Thank you, Dr. Wimberly, Superintendent Doherty, board members. Another quick shout out for the great student art that we recognized at 5:30 today. It's going to be displayed proudly in the building. Fantastic. All the board members got to put blue ribbons on pieces of art during Youth Art Month. That was great. Our district highlights, another great list of students' highlights filled with student and staff achievements across our district. And we'll begin with a special presentation from Superintendent Doherty.
Thank you, Brian, the rest of the board members, Dr. Wimberly and the rest of the board. Is Julie and Kim here this evening? Can you please come over here, Julie and Kim? So Julie Wenzel and Kim Potts. Julie is a bus driver here in DD2, and Kim Potts is a bus monitor. And so I want to highlight these two ladies because when you think about adding value to a child's life, it doesn't matter what position you're in, you can have that impact. And so I was able to get an email from a parent. And so just to kind of show you a little bit what we're dealing with here, and it says, right here, it says, you can't tell me nothing about bus 23 because I know Miss Julie and Miss Kim got me. So, but I just wanted to highlight what they did because this is a message from a parent. It says, I'm writing to respectfully bring to your attention a matter that I believe deserves careful consideration regarding the conduct of one of your drivers and assistant. I want to commend Bus 23, Miss Julie and Miss Kim on this day that is set aside to recognize those that serves us in transportation department. Being the parents of a child with autism and having a bus team that is dedicated to welcoming him on and off the bus with cheer is a tremendous blessing and one of the pivotal reasons why he has excelled so much this year in school, because he looks forward to his bus ride experience daily. Thank you. He knows they are cheering him on and off the bus. Her son was so excited for his bus ride to see them that it took him some getting used to not expecting to see them on the weekends too. They are invested in not only just my child's safety and setting a template for his day, but all the other students' days as well. And you can feel it and hear it. They both are passionate and show up daily with the same smile and warmth that goes a long way with parents. Special needs workers' jobs are not easy, but we are very blessed and appreciative for them and everything that they have been to our family this year. Transportation is more than just getting passengers from one place to another. It is a daily experience that shapes the trust, safety, and peace of mind for those who rely on it. I just wanted to pass this information off to the top because they are representative of your leadership. Though the bus may be shorter than some of the rest, the love that it holds definitely is long. So give a congratulations to Julie.
While they get a picture real quick, I will say briefly that Director of Transportation Steve Shope, ironically, is stuck in terrible traffic right now. He wanted to be here. We got a message just before the meeting started, but I wanted to mention that he sends his appreciation. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Mr. Doherty. For our next two highlights, I'd like to welcome Director of Secondary Schools, Dr. Maurice Cannon.
Thank you. Good evening. Good evening, Board of Trustees, our Chairperson Wimberly, Superintendent Doherty, and members of our community. It is truly an honor to recognize one of our outstanding educators from Fort Dorchester High School, Mr. James Barton. Mr. Barton has recently been named the South Carolina Association of Student Council's High School Advisor of the Year, a distinction that reflects not only his leadership, but his deep commitment to student voice, service, and civic engagement. Under his guidance, student leaders have been empowered to make meaningful contributions within their school and across the broader community. Mr. Barton exemplifies what it means to invest in students beyond the classroom, developing character, leadership capacity, and a sense of responsibility that will serve them well into the future. On behalf of Dorchester School District 2, we congratulate Mr. Barton on this well-deserved recognition and thank him for the lasting impact he continues to make on his students and our district.
I just want to say a quick thank you to Mr. Barton as a parent who's blessed enough to have 2 students in your classes. I appreciate you and all your hard work, and thank you so much.
I now have the privilege to introduce Mr. Bill Marshall, President, and Mr. Pat Apperson, Education Chair for the Society of the Cincinnati of the State of South Carolina, who join us this evening to recognize one of our outstanding educators. Gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. Bill Marshall, President of the South Carolina Society of Cincinnati. I will save my speech about the Society of Cincinnati for a later date, but basically the society is made up of descendants of officers of the Continental Line who fought in the American Revolution. It was started by George Washington and Henry Knox, and one of our mandates is to remember that vast event called the American Revolution through education. And in that spirit, I guess about 4.5 years ago, the South Carolina Society of the Cincinnati created an Education Excellence Award that we give out once a year to a teacher in South Carolina, and it's our privilege this evening to be amongst y'all. I will pass it over to Pat Apperson, who is our education chairman for this presentation. Thank you so much for letting us be here.
Thank you, Bill, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and it was wonderful to see how you started this evening with your meeting, so we love the patriotic aspect to it. Thank you. As Bill said, the Society of the Cincinnatis was founded by officers of the American Revolution, and we're fortunate enough to be descendants of those officers that we commemorate that fast event. A few years ago, the society realized that it needed to do more outreach, and especially with a lot of the things going on in our society today, we needed to strengthen or help strengthen education in our school system, and that's what we've undertaken, as Bill said, about 4 years ago. We in the State Society began a Teacher of the Year award, and this is our 4th year for that, and we also run workshops across the state that we started 2 years ago. Our next one will be here in Dorchester County in July of 2027, where we bring teachers from all around the state to learn more how they can give lessons about the American Revolution. And the recipient tonight, Brock Beaver, has been very active in our programs. He attended our Master's Teacher Seminar in Washington, D.C. last year, and he has been very active and was very helpful in our workshop in Camden this past year. So this is part of our outreach, getting more out into the community, not being behind closed doors of a bunch of old men and things like that, but to get out and help promote social studies in the American school system. So thank you very much. Brock, you want to come forward?
Thank you, gentlemen. Our next highlight recognizes achievements through the South Carolina PTA. To present these recognitions, please welcome Dorchester Colleton County PTA President, Mary Kate Ward.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm thrilled to share that a number of DD2 PTAs and individuals from those PTAs were recently recognized by the South Carolina PTA Award winners. Thank you for recognizing these accomplishments this evening. First up, we have Fort Dorchester Elementary PTA. Okay. They received the Community Collaboration Award and the PTA Belonging Award. Additionally, their teacher, Abby Marone, received the Exemplary Teacher Advocate Award, and Zoe Camp, their student, received the Student Voice and Advocacy Award. Okay. That's it? Okay. All right, next we'd like to recognize River Oaks Middle School PTSA. Their PTA won a South Carolina PTA Membership Growth Award. The next PTA we'd like to recognize is Sand Hill Elementary School PTA. They received a Student-Centric Budget Allocation Award, and also Nicole Cruz was recognized for PTA Board Member Commitment. All right, William Reeves Elementary PTA. William Reeves PTA is being awarded the PTA Volunteer Excellence Award, and they also were acknowledged for their student-centric budget allocation. And finally, we'd like to recognize Windsor Hill Arts Infused Elementary PTA. They are recognized for the SCPTA Southern Connections Award, and their teacher, Sharon Wilt, was recognized for Exemplary Teacher Advocate.
Thank you, Ms. Ward. Our next highlight recognizes efforts across our district to support the American Cancer Society through Relay for Life. To share more, welcome Assistant Director of Elementary Schools, Ms. Jessica Farnsworth.
Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, Superintendent Daugherty, and members of the DD2 community. Tonight, I'm honored to celebrate what truly sets DD2 apart, our commitment to relationships and how they are the foundation of who we are and how we serve our students, staff, and community. That spirit of connection and care was recently reflected in our partnership with the American Cancer Society through the 2026 Low Country Relay for Life. The Relay for Life is more than a fundraiser. It's a movement of hope, remembrance, and action. The mission of the American Cancer Society is to improve lives of people with cancer and their families through advocacy, research, and patient support services. Funds raised through Relay events directly impact individuals and families in communities just like ours. Those donations help provide transportation for patients traveling to chemotherapy treatments, lodging for families during cancer care, access to 24/7 support resources, and funding for groundbreaking cancer research that continues to save lives every day. This year, DD2 showed up in an incredible way. We proudly had teams representing 12 schools and the district office that participated in the Low Country Relay for Life event on April 17th. Students, teachers, administrators, staff, and families came together to not only raise funds and awareness for those impacted by cancer, but also to give their time, talents, and resources through performances, activities, and ceremonies that reflected the compassion, service, and community spirit that defines DD2. Cancer touches us all in some way. Nearly every person in this room has been impacted by it through a family member, friend, colleague, or loved one. Events like Relay for Life allow us to not only honor our survivors, but also remember and celebrate those we have lost. So we always have people come present us big checks, so we decided we want to celebrate and present the American Cancer Society with a big-ish check. So tonight we want to sincerely thank every DD2 school, every team captain, every participant, every student, every donor who helped make this effort successful. We raised over $17,880. Your generosity reflects the compassion and spirit that define our district. Together, DD2 is proving that when a community unites around a purpose, we can make a real difference, not only in our schools, but in the lives of people throughout the Low Country and beyond. So first, we're going to celebrate the school that raised the most funds in all of DD2. We hope that this will become an annual kind of friendly competition. And so this school is being named as our first annual Relay for Life top school for 2026, and that is Austin Bailey Elementary School. So Austin Bailey, come on up. And then you guys can stay up here because we're going to bring up our friends from the Relay for Life, but we're going to get you guys up here first. If you want to come up here. We were having to check totals up until the moment we printed the certificate because it was back and forth and there were several schools that were in a race. So this friendly competition is definitely going to be one that helps us raise funds. But congratulations to Austin Bailey Elementary School. Now you guys can stay up here because we're going to bring up some more people. So here tonight we're joined by Donna Hackala. She is the Relay for Life Volunteer Event Chair and other members of the event leadership team. So we'd like for them to come up and we're going to present them with a check for
$17,887. From the following schools: Austin Bailey, Eagle Nest; Joe Pye, Knightsville; Oak Brook Elementary; Reeves Elementary; Austin Middle School; DuBose Middle School; Rawlings Middle School of the Arts; River Oaks Middle School; Ashley Ridge High School; Somerville High School, and any members of our DO team that would like to join us. So let's get a big group picture of everybody that represented us for Relay for Life. Sorry, Miss Passmore, you're gonna have to try to squeeze everybody in there. All right, I'm gonna jump in.
Thank you, Ms. Farnsworth. We'll conclude tonight by recognizing the work of our Community Relations Office. Each year, the South Carolina chapter of the National School Public Relations Association recognizes outstanding communications and public relations efforts from school districts and educational organizations across South Carolina through its annual Rewards for Excellence program. This year, DD2 received 3 state-level recognitions during the organization's award ceremony in Columbia. We received 2 Publication and Electronic Media Awards in the photography category, the first for this series of photos from Oak Brook Elementary's Color Run, and another for this Fort Dorchester High School graduate who rained $25 onto stage at last year's graduation, an image that clearly displays what not to do as you cross the stage. Finally, the office received a Golden Achievement Award for the Hey Team Dorchester, a culture-first digital engagement initiative, a social media effort centered around creating casual, personable, and authentic content that highlights the people and culture of DD2 through weekly digital storytelling. SC Inspira's Rewards for Excellence program included 374 entries from across the state this year, evaluated by public relations professionals with extensive experience in educational and business communications. We're grateful for this recognition of work happening across the district and proud of the efforts of the Community Relations Office to help tell the story of Team Dorchester. And I'm going to get a picture.
Brian's so awesome, he gave his own award. So I just want to say thank you, Brian, on behalf of the board for your fantastic photography.
This concludes tonight's district highlights.
All right, that was awesome. Next, we will continue with our agenda, with our public comments on agenda items. We have one this evening, Mr. Jason Brockert.
Those were some wonderful awards. Congratulations to everyone. Tonight, I'm here to speak about item 5A, Policy Committee First Readings. It is staff concerns, complaints, and grievances. Well, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, but also the annual Teacher Thankathon, which is sponsored by Defense of Democracy. So I want to remind everybody that I've actually been speaking up for teachers longer than about half the board has actually been sitting up there. But tonight I want to talk about the policy that you have that proposes in policy GBK removing the sentence, beginning with level 1, the employee, supervisor, or administrator may request a fellow employee, department head, or supervisor, administrator, or other staff member to participate in a grievance as a conferee. While the updates to policy GBK-R include provisions for joint grievances, it more explicitly requires that they both sign and attest to similar grievances. This seems to be a bit more restrictive. Why is the district moving to ensure that when a teacher has a grievance or a concern about their working conditions, that they have to go it alone against the administration? When you remove the conferee, you aren't streamlining a process, you're encouraging isolation. You're ensuring that there are no witnesses. You're ensuring that the orderly and expeditious resolution, oh, wait a minute, you also strict that too, not orderly or expeditious. It's been my experience with the district's resolutions, silence isn't an accident, it's the feature. The policy revision mirrors a broader pattern that I've observed, preference for executive sessions over open dialogue. By requiring teachers to cite specific board policies or state laws just to have a grievance recognized, you are placing a legalistic burden on the very people we are supposed to be thanking this month. Again, we've thanked a lot of teachers today for a lot of work that they do. And a lot of the stuff that I've said up here sees past a bit of the surface into reading between the lines. And so I'd like you to really think about some of these policy changes that you're proposing. The last board meeting, I spoke about some policy changes. They got pushed through, and it's perfectly fine. But true gratitude for our educators isn't found in a social media post or a commemorative week. It's found in the complete freedom from reprisal that this policy promises, but strategically undermines with these revisions. If we are truly to honor our teachers during this thankathon, we must reject policies that isolate them. I support our teachers. I've been supporting our teachers for years. I support the Defense of Democracy and the Teacher Thankathon. And I'd also like to personally thank teachers that if anyone wants a free ticket to come see Saving Abel headlining our show at the fairgrounds at May 30th, email me at jason@honoringjulian.org and I'll get you a free ticket. Front row, VIP.
Thank you, Mr. Brockert. All right, next on our agenda this evening, we have our board committee reports. We will begin with our policy committee. Ms. Bates.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have several policies up for first reading today. They are as follows. GBK, Staff Concerns, Complaints, and Grievances. GBKR, Staff Concerns, Complaints, and Grievances. GBI, Staff Participation in Political Activities. GC, Professional Staff. GCA, Professional Staff Positions. GCQE, Retirement of Professional Staff. GCQE, the rule, retirement of professional staff for recommended for deletion. GDA, support staff positions. IHBGR, homeschooling. And that's all.
Thank you, Ms. Bates. As these are coming out of policy, we do not need a second. So at this time, I would ask if there are any questions or discussion. All right, hearing none, we will call for the vote. Motion carries 7 in favor.
And then all we have is an upcoming meeting on May 18th, so that's next week. Other than that, that's all I have for today. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have our Finance Committee. Mr. Lee, anything to report for us this evening?
The board presented our proposed budget for next year to the County Council this afternoon. Interesting conversation, not a whole lot of questions. You're welcome to go and take a look at that one. But our next meeting will be next Monday, which is public comment on our budget. I encourage everyone to take the time to watch that presentation or go back to the last Finance Committee, prepare yourself, and come with any questions or comments that you might have. Mr. Guthrie, anything you want to add?
All right, thank you. Next is our Facilities Committee. Mr. Farnsworth.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Facilities will meet again next week, next Monday, May 18th. So please be on the lookout for that. We plan to go over high level from all of our facility visits. So we will pinpoint everything that we've looked at during those visits. And then we also have quite a few good updates for everybody tonight. We are rolling along with a lot of projects here in the district. So look forward to that as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, and then we have our Governmental and Community Relations Committee. Mr. Lee.
Yeah, we have not met since the last time we presented an update, but a couple of conversations have taken place. There is a desire to get more than just a few legislators together from the various legislative bodies that have anything to do with school funding and whatnot. So we're going to work to do that. And then one thing, just as a particular note, during the presentation of the budget to the county council, one of the council members asked a thoughtful question regarding, some of the line items in the budget relating to behavioral supports and whatnot, and asking quite candidly, what can we do about it? I would love to see the community get behind answering that question, because while we have challenges and things we have to deal with here in our district, it's not a school district problem, okay? It's a community problem. It's a cultural problem. I'd love to see more people lend their voices to starting that conversation.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. All right, next we have our board chair's report, and it is that time of year where we have a lot of events happening. Yes, we've had several great ones, and I thank you all for your attendance this week. We have the teacher signing day on Thursday evening, that is here, and then this weekend on Saturday we have the last dance for SPAN. So that's just this week, and there are others listed on there that you can add to your calendar. Anyone have any questions or comments about upcoming events? All right, well, I look forward to seeing you all at those fun things. Okay, so we will move on to our superintendent's report. Mr. Doherty, what do you have for us?
Yes, Madam Chair and the rest of the board, our first item this evening is our multi-language learner update, and Ms. Susan Grinsteiner will be coming up and kind of giving a report on how we're addressing our needs for our multi-language learners. So thank you, Mrs. Grinsteiner.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair, Dr. Wimberly, Superintendent Mr. Doherty, esteemed school board members, and members of the community. I appreciate the opportunity for giving me the opportunity to present on our district multilingual learner program this evening. My name is Susan Grinsteiner. I am the Multilingual Learner Program Coordinator. I'm going to go over a few overview slides, and then I'll dive into a few more details. But please feel free to stop me at any point and ask any questions. This first slide is just an overview. Use it as a quick reference guide to refer back to, and these are the details that I'll be going into further in the presentation. So who we serve in our district? Thank you so much. We serve multilingual learners who when they came into our district, they either have a home or a native language that starts the process of an identification for multilingual learner services. Based on their level of need, we have over 3,000 students. We have 1,500 roughly that are actively served, meaning we are providing direct instruction, and they are actively tested yearly. Over 700 of those are monitored, meaning they have exited those services, but we are still actively monitoring and supporting them, kind of creating that safety net in case there are extra needs, and we can support the schools, students, and their teachers. We have more than 650 that are fully exited, meaning they are fully multilingual learners. That's an exciting piece for us. And we even have over 100 pre-K students who may be identified once they reach kindergarten level. From our students, they actually represent over 60 languages. And some of the top languages there are Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese, Vietnamese, Arabic, Russian, Korean, and we can blow that little speech bubble up if we need to read further. In terms of who we are, our program has over 37 multilingual learner specialists. These are the teachers that are in the schools serving those students with those direct instruction pieces, but they also work with the records departments. They work with those intake of the records. They help with the testing process, and they support the students and their administrative teams in helping make those decisions about the best ways to meet the needs of those students. We also have 5 interpreters that are assigned to the various schools based on need, and we need to serve all 25 schools. And then in addition, we also serve any of the other locations or alternative programs where our multilingual learners might be, such as RISE, Virtual, and our N&D site Purpose. We have many facets of our program, but some of our primary responsibilities that I wanted to highlight for you this evening. I talked about that identification and placement. It begins with the home language survey. That's a universal screener that's given at registration, or we collect records from the previous districts. So we work closely with student testing coordinators, the systems operators or sysops at the schools, and those individuals who are working with records. Once we make those initial pieces, once we collect those initial pieces, if a student does need to go through screening, our teachers complete that screening. We keep track of the records. We are responsible to have compliant records for the state and the federal audits. And then we even work with, the teachers work with me, they work with their admin, they work with schedulers to determine the correct placement and scheduling of services for those students. As a district and at the school level, we also are responsible for meaningful communication with the parents in the languages, especially for legal purposes. And this is a federal requirement. But on top of that, we do that because our schools find it so important to make those meaningful connections with the parents and make those homeschool connections. And we found a lot of growth in this area, and we're really proud of this. But we do help support the schools in making those meaningful homeschool connections. To do this, we do have those 5 interpreters that I talked about. They are Spanish language interpreters. And then for overflow needs or for languages outside of Spanish, we have Language Line. And then we also use Alta as our translation program for documents and legal documents, such as like for hearings and things like that. Another piece that we are responsible for, our teachers work with the content teachers, the student testing coordinators again, at the school level, and we create individualized language acquisition plans, or ILAPs. So they are the legal student accommodation plans so that students can achieve those grade level content standards that I'll talk about in a second. To do this, they're collaborating with their classroom teachers. We're working to help make sure that everyone gets the support they need if that student needs extra support, or sometimes we take those supports away because that student is needing to move to those higher levels. And then in addition, it's important that we communicate clearly with student testing coordinators so the students get the correct legal accommodations that they have on those ILAPs in the testing process. In addition to all of the other district tests and assessments that all non-ML students take, that all students take, our ML students also take all of those other district assessments, EOCs, things like that. But our ML students also take the annual English language proficiency assessment, and that is for that about those 1,500 students that are tested and served annually. This score does measure our school growth, and that is reported on the report card, on the state report card, and I'll talk about that in a little bit as well. But this is another measure that we can use to monitor our student growth. So to address instruction and to help our students meet those language goals, our English language development standards, they're housed under the WIDA company or the WIDA framework, It's the world-class instructional design and assessment, and this is used throughout the country by several other states, and it's also our state standard for English language development. It covers the language of the content area. So we're really focused on listening, speaking, reading, and writing to help support the academic language development of the content area. So the academic language of social studies, the academic language of English language arts, science, social studies, ELA, English language arts. To do this, we use several different service models. Primarily, we're using pull-out or push-in support at the elementary level. We're using an ML class period in the middle school and high school level, and we're working toward collaborative teaching, so that might be collaborative planning in a PLC or in a planning period, and also the co-teaching supports. And this is a best practice. The state is encouraging us to do this because it's minimizing that isolation and that pull-out time, and it's encouraging more time within that content area where they are working with that academic language in context. So it's making more meaningful time within that content area. All of these supports are meant to empower students, and at the same time, we're also empowering our educators. Our ML specialists do need to take additional certification to be an ML teacher. And so they are experts in their field, and we recognize them as that. They work so hard. They are supporting professional development, so many of our professional development pieces we create at the district level, and then they are also helping to support those at the school level. They're also collaborating and they're working with their content teachers in those PLCs to help support those instructional strategies to support the language in that content area. And by doing that, we're building capacity. We're building school-level leadership teams. We're building strong content teachers that are rising to that occasion as well. We also have the Elevation platform. Elevation is a program that allows us kind of a twofold purpose. One, it houses our data, so it helps communicate and streamline some of those communication pieces that I talked about earlier. Our individualized language acquisition plans, those accommodation plans, are housed within there. The content teachers can sign those, can access those, and then they're housed there. So the school testing coordinator can hit a button and be able to get those accommodation plans too. So it really is cleaning that up and streamlining that piece and making sure that we are not spending a lot of time on on handwriting our old forms, which is what we used to have to do. But in addition, Elevation is a strong platform because it actually houses instructional strategies and modules for teachers to get professional development on how to deliver those instructional strategies to help get be even more equipped to deliver that instruction for that academic language in the content area. In fact, it's so robust that if the content teachers, or any teachers, you all can do it, if you complete the modules, you can submit those to the State Department for ML endorsement. So it's a high-level program. Just like we empower our teachers, we also focus on empowering our students because that's why we're all here. We're about helping our students grow. So we're about making meaningful change for our students. One of the ways of doing that, again, like I mentioned earlier, we do take all of the other assessments as the other students. And so just like all students are measured on the state report card, so are our MLs. But in addition, as you can see in the far left there, the English language proficiency assessment growth piece is also an added piece for schools for their ML students. So that's an additional piece on the school's report card for our students. Most students, the average ML student will take about 5 to 7 years to acquire the English language, but our state actually gives about a 4 to 5 year growth period, and we're actually still doing really well compared to that, as I'll show you in a second. So I'm very proud of the work that our teachers, our schools, our students, everyone is, excuse me, and the support that you all give, because I think we're doing amazing things for our students. Down below, you'll see that some of the ways that we go about this is we do spend a focal time on that accurate reporting and the data that we provide the state so that we do ensure that what we are submitting is correct. But we also have the compliance with the South Carolina expectations. They talk about wanting collaborative co-teaching. We're trying to move in those directions. We try to support those ratios as best we can. And then the instructional alignment. It really comes down to that, because when we recognize that the content standards and the language of the content standards are where our students are being measured on the state report card, not only for their content growth, but also their language growth. When we align that, we make the most effective use of the resources we do have. So we work closely with the curriculum and instruction team, the federal programs team. We work with the accountability teams. You name it, if they're out there, we're working with them because we want our students to do the very best that they can. In terms of impact and growth of the program, there it is. Consistently, over the past few years, our district, our Dorchester School District 2 students have ranked in the top South Carolina districts for meeting that ML growth target. That's even sooner than the average ML student should be acquiring that growth for districts that are our ML size or larger. So I'm really proud of our students and our schools and our teachers for all of their hard work in that area. And that is coming about through that enhanced teaching capacity. We really work hard to get that Tier 1 instruction piece. Working with MTSS groups, we're doing it all so that we can build that capacity at that school level and that teacher level. And our schools, one of my pride points is working closely with the Title Family Engagement Office, with schools, with their title facilitators, in enhancing that family engagement piece. It's been really exciting, and looking for ways to build those homeschool connections. And then moving forward, as we reflect on our program, which we do all the time, we're continuing to just build that collaboration and those co-teach models so that we can build the capacity. We are working with schools, individual schools, and their teachers to build that school level capacity in those ML leadership teams, and continuing to hone our professional development. So we have the standardized pieces to just get through the compliance pieces, but we're moving forward always to do what's really needed at that school level, really needed at that student level, so we can make a true difference for our students, which is why we're all here. Thank you for your time this evening. And if you do have any questions, I'm happy to answer anything.
I do. Just to clarify, do services start in pre-K or kindergarten?
They start in kindergarten per federal and state guidelines. It's always a wish list for me, because if we can start earlier, we can support, but we don't. We would need.
Okay, wonderful. And then one more: does each school currently have their own ML teacher, or are some still doing half-day shared?
Right now, they all do have a teacher. Some are not a full-time, and they might share with another school, but they are, if that's the case, we are trying to do our best to meet the ratio, so that they're given what they need based on that, the state recommended ratio. Mm-hmm.
So the ML teachers, so if I'm following this, they are not necessarily language specific. They're trained in dealing with students that are multilingual. They're not necessarily.
Yes, I would say that we are literacy specialists, because we're focusing on the speaking, reading, writing, and listening of English.
Gotcha. Okay. And then we have 5 interpreters, but it's all Spanish.
5 interpreters that are all Spanish. 2 are quite fluent in Portuguese. And so we're trying to build that capacity up. And then, yes.
Okay. But you have, 3,000 students, 60 languages. Help me synthesize all that.
Well, the interpretation support is for the families. We do not provide that for the students. For the students, we're supporting them with learning the English language and bridging that content support with the language support through those accommodations. So the language support is for the families to meet those federal guidelines about the communication in a language the parents can understand.
This may not be a question for you, but 3,000, that's roughly about 11% or so of our students in our district require some sort of ML support. about 6% are in active support, the 1,500 that you mentioned and whatnot. Superintendent Doherty, I don't know, this might be for that, and if we don't have it today, that's fine, but I mean, in terms of our budget and everything else, what does this look like?
Well, I can tell you this, it's a lot like everything else in public education, a lot of it's unfunded mandate. We don't get a lot of dollars. We get a lot from Title III, correct me if, no, not Title III, Title
III is, has restrictions on it. It can pay for parent engagement, it can pay for professional development, and it can do supplemental support. It is not allowed to be used for interpretation or translation because that is something that, or testing, things like that. So if it is something that we are required to do for all students, then that is something that has to come, that is supposed to come from our general budget per the federal guidelines.
And that's something we kind of have to balance, when we look at the needs, and Susan does a wonderful job with her staff. When you think about, push in, pull out, all those services, making sure they have the accommodations when they have the testing, making sure schedules are set up. And when we push something out from Parent Square, we have to make sure it's in that native language also. So, those are things that we're having to do, and they have to help us a little bit with that, putting messages out. So Susan is kind of the ringmaster of bringing that all together, and she does a phenomenal job and spends a lot of time with new families coming in, like with the enrollment process. We have a lot of those that come in, and so she's working with new families to make sure to get those people on board, to get them the services. And so again, it's a lot of time and effort, but again, it doesn't come with a lot of extra federal dollars our way, but just again, what she does with a little, and I think Annie said it, not every teacher is just home at one school. There might be some splits to try to make that happen. I know we have added teachers the last couple of years to help accommodate the needs. So just appreciate what Susan has done, but kind of answer your question, Mr. Lee, there.
No, it does. Thank you. And thank you for the update. There was a lot there that I was not aware of. So
Thank you. Thank you.
like most everything else in the district, you guys seem to do more with less and still produce the results. So thank you.
We try our best.
I'm curious a little bit on the growth we're seeing in our multilingual learners. Like, is it growing substantially each year? Like, how, because obviously we want to make sure we're providing adequate support. If that's something we're seeing a lot of growth in over maybe the last 5 years, is this a substantial change? Is this something?
It has had a high upward trajectory, I'll say. We have stabled out a little bit this year, but we've also seen just a higher number of newcomers and diverse needs is the best way I'll say that. So students that are coming in, and that's really where we're trying to help support schools, with meeting those tier 2 or tier 3 needs as they come in, and really helping to answer some of those questions. So, and just trying to do our best to support in those areas. And that's why working with all of the other departments has been integral, because we're all working in those same areas, and just our ML students have that added piece of the language learning.
It's always good for us to just keep an eye on that, with, our budget cycle each year and where we need to allocate supports in different areas. So just was curious if that was something we were seeing a growing amount of need for, so.
Yes, I do. We submit our allocation requests just like all the other departments, and we do that yearly. Thank you.
Any other questions for Mrs. Grinsteiner? Thank you, Mrs. Grinsteiner. Great job. Thank you.
Thank you for your time and all your support.
Next up on the superintendent's report is Mr. David Walker is going to talk a little bit about our partnership with BASC. I know we've talked a lot about behavior, and so I know David's kind of our expert in our special education department with behavior, and so he's going to talk a little bit about our partnership with BASC.
Great. Good evening. Thank you, Madam Chair, Board of Trustees, and Mr. Doherty for having me this evening. I have the privilege of sharing some very good information about our partnership with BASC. So BASC stands for the Behavior Alliance of South Carolina. They are an organization that's funded by the South Carolina Department of Education, and they're affiliated with SC Teams. I'm sorry, I didn't switch the slide there. Off to a bad start already. So they're affiliated with SC teams. Their overall goal with BASC is to build capacity within the school buildings of our partner schools, and also they do that through coaching and training at the Tier 1 level. So all the work that we do with BASC is at the MTSS Tier 1 universal level. So it affects all students. So our partner schools are Eagles Nest Elementary, River Oaks, and Fort Dorchester High School. So we've had the privilege, Matt and I, who's the district behavior coordinator with myself, has had the privilege to work with these schools. And each of these schools have adopted their current MTSS teams into the BASC support network, as I would say. And additionally, these 3 schools were chosen. You may be thinking, why were they chosen? They are feeder schools that are in very close proximity to each other. So over the next several years, like our BASC methodology, as you'll see coming up, it's more than 3 years. So we'll get to follow those students and see how well they adapt to this framework. So our district goals, when we entered into the partnership, what we really wanted to focus on was reducing exclusionary discipline and improving disproportionality. Goal 2 was build staff capacity in preventative and positive behavior supports. And goal 3 was establish a cohesive multi-tiered system for behavior. And we are very close to mastering all those 3 goals there. So the BASC methodology that I referenced earlier is, you see here, our first year is foundational. That's the year that we're in currently. Our second year is our implementation year, which we'll be entering in next year. And the third year and beyond is sustainability. So this year in foundational, what our big goal was doing needs assessment to see at each of our partner schools where were our biggest needs when it comes to behavior, and then kind of building a blueprint of how we address those needs. And you can see under foundational, it lists the work that's going to help us in that blueprint to address those needs. So we spent several months with our teams collaborating and creating those foundational work pieces. Through our partnership with BASC, these are some resources that's been available to us, not only our partner schools, but also all the schools in our district. So professional learning, we do 3 in-person days directly with BASC. That includes Matt and myself and also the school teams. They have online supplemental resources like online modules that we can complete throughout the year. We get ongoing coaching support. And then we also have virtual learning communities, which are referred to as echoes, that we do in between the 3 in-person learning days. So just some highlights from the foundational year at each of our schools. So for Eagles Nest, they came out very strong in the beginning when we started with our self-assessment. That's the needs assessment that I referenced earlier. They had an impressive 84% staff completion rate, which we would love to have seen 100%, but you know that was near the top for the entire cohort that was across the state. At ROMS, Miss Tracy received special recognition on the BASC website during the National Appreciation Month for her leadership through this foundational work. And at Fort Dorchester High School, Mr. Aldridge was showcased in a live spotlight of practice representing Dorchester District 2 in Cohort 2 with excellence. So they kind of set the bar. And I'll insert here, if Marcy at Eagles Nest ever listens to this, they were a very, very close second. They did a fantastic job too. I don't want to leave them out. So the next 3 slides are going to be some artifacts or the work pieces that we've kind of done throughout the first year. So the first piece is with Eagles Nest, and off to the side where it says compliments to Eagles Nest, that is feedback that was given to us by our personal BASC representative that oversees our work and gives us feedback to the DBCs that we can redeliver to the school teams, or she does it directly to the school teams. So you can tell on each 3, they've done a phenomenal job. But what you're looking at here is a positive behavior flow chart. And what that really is, that's to help ensure our adults that have interactions day to day will have consistent instructional and supportive ways to respond to the students. The next artifact you're seeing here is from River Oaks. This is the behavior levels and definitions. And this is framework that defines like the intensity and the impact, so staff can respond, again, consistently, supportively, and also be proactive across all settings. Last that's featured is Fort Dorchester High School. Theirs is their school-wide norms or their school-wide matrix. It's in, what this tool is used for is it designs the setting and follow-through so that the actions we value become the behavior that we consistently see and encourage. And then lastly, this is the final work that we have to do in the foundational year. So once we finalize all of these documents, they will go into a school manual, and that school manual becomes the single source of information for the staff there that they use specifically for their behavior norms and their procedures. And that is it for me.
I guess I'm terminally curious tonight. Thinking about all the discussions we've been having about the alternative elementary school, additional behavior and supports and whatnot, how integrated, aligned is this with what we're doing, or is this something that we need to do now that we're moving forward? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so this, as I mentioned earlier, this work is done at the tier 1, so the universal tier. So right now it's just targeted at the 3 partner schools. We do have an opportunity this summer, which we're discussing with others about expanding that work, but the goal of this is to look at how do we reduce discipline across the board. So this work is touching on all students. Right now, just in the 3 targeted, but the goal is we spread this across the district and we'll reduce our discipline, hopefully substantially.
Well, and to add your question, Mr. Lee, is, when you go back to, I believe it's, I want to say slide 36, the implementation of school-wide practices, classroom practices, teaching behavior. I'll just give you an example. If we're all third grade teachers up here and we all have different school-wide procedures, that creates an issue. And so those are things we're trying to capture in tier 1 across all schools. So all teachers are speaking the same language. They have the same expectations. Sometimes it's easy, the older you get up, not in so much in your elementary, you start getting into your middle schools and your high schools, they become siloed because they're in grades. That's all I teach. I don't teach across grade level. And so then we can have some of these same practices, because what happens is one teacher may have a certain expectation or procedure and the one next door does not. And so I go into that classroom and I think this is the procedure, and then I'm in trouble. And so trying to systematize this across all of our schools is something that again, we're going to try to do with tier 1. And so I'll just give you an example with River Oaks, just knowing, River Oaks was 3 years ago, we had all kinds of issues trying to fill teaching spots. And so I think Ms. Tracy did over 200 and some interviews in one summer and still had 10 vacancies. I'm happy to report now she doesn't have any vacancies and people want to stay and retain. A lot of this has to do with some of this school-wide practices, and everybody feels like they're a part of it, and kids take ownership of it as well. So I just think this is a great tool that we're using, and again, if we can systematize it with all our buildings, I think you'll see a lot of decrease in some of the numbers of referrals, and again, that means kids are in classrooms and they're not out of class, and so that's going to help, bottom line, student achievement.
So is there a certain way we're going to measure success?
So across, it depends on if we add schools, but initially in these 3 targeted schools, I think the way we're going to look at it is through our discipline data. Yeah.
Okay. And I know you said prepare for your 2 implementations. Is there a certain number of years?
Yeah, it is at least a 3-year commitment.
A 3-year commitment. Yeah. And we just completed year 1.
We just completed year 1.
Okay.
I've got one more question. So I know we talked with Mr. Michelle last meeting about MTSS. We talked about Panorama. I know one side of the triangle is academics, the other is behavior. So is this part of that piece as well? Those interventions are in that panorama?
Yes, absolutely. Behavior interventions are a definite piece of Panorama.
Okay.
And we've even worked as a team on the MTSS team with Mr. Michelle and that district team to make sure that we're adding appropriate and research-based interventions into Panorama if they weren't already there. So schools will have access to that.
Thank you. Any other questions for the board? Well, thank you, David. I appreciate the information. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is, as an action item in approval of the facility name of James H. Spann Education Center. As you know, we'll be doing the last dance for Spann this Saturday, and this will be the last year that it will actually be a K through 5 school. And so, again, when we're looking at putting a name to it, it's still going to be the James H. Spann, but we're just calling it the Education Center, as it will be the home to the technology, special education, also with our adult education, food service, and also our alternative schools. So it'll be home to all of those programs that we'll have. And so we're just asking the boards if they would support this name. And again, we want to continue to honor James H. Spann as a building and part of that name.
Okay, board members, at this time, I would ask for a motion to update the name of James H. Spann Elementary School to James H. Spann Education Center.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Guthrie, seconded by Ms. King. Any questions or discussion?
So did I understand that to be, they'll be known as the Technology Pandas? Is that?
The technology. I think it's the dancing pandas. All right. Okay, we will proceed with the vote. Yep, motion carries 7 in favor.
Okay, our next item on the agenda is tonight our facilities report. Mr. Tony Souls, Capital Projects Facility, and Mr. Jeff Smith, our Director of Facilities Maintenance, have a nice presentation on some update on some of our projects. So I'll turn it over to Tony.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Mr. Doherty. Tonight's report is going to be very fast because it's a lot of stuff happening and we're at the same spot in several of the different locations. Elementary school at the Ponds, we're still waiting. I will tell you that we drafted an MOU. We sent it to the folks at Coulter for them to look at so we could get an advanced beginning on what we had going on over there. And we haven't had a response on that as of last week when I talked to the folks over there. At Somerville Elementary School, however, that's a different story. We're about 95% complete over there. We had the overhead inspection last week on the first floor. We have it today on the second floor. Both of those inspections were successful. We had a few minor details. We're going to wrap those up this week and be able to drop ceiling tile and then continue on with our trim out on the inside and do some final inspections and final testing and be ready for our final inspection mid-July. Somerville High School gym, we did receive our 50% construction documents and we reviewed those. We had a meeting last week where we discussed some internal things in the gym, how we wanted that to look, and the construction documents will be completed by 6/1, and we hope to have a GMP on that sometime in the very near future. Ashley Ridge High School, we got some great news today. We had the overhead inspection for the weight room and the band room on Friday. Both of those were very successful. They'll be dropping ceiling tile in this week and finishing the trim out over the next couple of weeks. And we have the notice this afternoon that all the paperwork had been submitted to OSF for the final inspection. So we are expecting to see a date from OSF and the Office of the State Fire Marshal there very soon. Fort Dorchester High School classroom, With the updated drawings, they went out to the pre-qualified contractors for pricing last week, and we hope to have the new numbers back on those very soon as well. Knightsville Elementary School, the campus upgrades over there, the schematic design is complete. Our design team is already working on design development, and we've had meetings almost every other week over there discussing things with the contractor and the design team and the folks at the school to make sure that we have everything covered for this very large addition and renovation project at Knightsville. Oakbrook Middle and Elementary additions, for all intents and purposes, we're finished. We're just waiting for an answer back from the Office of the State Fire Marshal and OSF for some inspection dates over there. The bus maintenance facility at Oakbrook, they poured the slab last week. They began erection of the pre-engineered metal building today. So hopefully here in the next few weeks, those buildings, they can put them up fairly quickly, and we'll begin the trim out on the inside, and hopefully we'll have that building completed by the end of the summer. That's all of the new construction stuff we have. Any questions for me about any of that? Awesome. Here's Jeff.
Oops, sorry. Just one slide today. Good evening, and this is actually a good month for us. This is our planning month because obviously it's like the calm before the storm. Once June 1st gets here, it'll be 7 days a week, 27 hours a day. So I'm getting my sleep in now. I'll probably get 3 or 4 hours a week until then. But yeah, like I said, we've got a lot of HVAC projects going on this summer. All of our units are in, so we did get that confirmation. So we're just waiting to, for the kids to get out of the school so we can start working on all those projects. We met with Gregg Middle School last week and came up with a tentative plan of laydown area and things like that. And they're going to be starting on June 1st for that project. The ceiling grid project at Newington, we had a meeting with the awarded vendor. So that's all, ready to go. We've had a few conversations back and forth about how we're going to proceed. But we feel really good about everything this summer. Obviously, I think we've purchased more moving boxes this year than we did in the previous 4 years I've been here. So, like I said, I reiterate there are a lot of moving parts this summer. And hopefully nothing else gets added to that plate, but we will take it if we have to. That's really all I have, unless anybody has any specific questions about anything coming up.
And the other thing I just want to point out, what Jeff is trying to do there, we look at span. Right now, we've put some extra, I would say, some roll-off containers over there, so, we can throw away anything. I wouldn't throw away, but anything that we're not going to make the move. And so we're purging files and things for teachers. And so I know Jeff's been really working hard there and getting boxes for teachers to box things up. I think we'll probably have over, close to 500, 600 boxes for teachers to use.
Probably just span. We've probably purchased about 3,000 so far.
Yeah, so
We'll
he and his team will be moving those teachers to wherever they're going to be going, and so we'll have that. So I just want to say thank you to Jeff and his team. They've done a wonderful job and working with Tony over at SPAN and trying to make sure that the teachers will be able to get where they're going. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, the last item is our student enrollment recommendations.
All right, board members, we did receive that information in our packet. Is everyone okay to proceed in open session? Yes, all right. So at this time, I'd ask for a motion to approve the student enrollment request as presented.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Lee, seconded by Mr. Guthrie. Any questions or comments? All right, hearing none, we will call for the vote. Motion carries 7 in favor. All right, next item on our agenda this evening is our public comments, and we do not have any. So we will move to our final agenda item, which is executive session. Board members, at this time, I would ask for a motion to convene into executive session for the purpose of receipt of legal advice as well as for personnel-related matters. Motion made by Ms. Powell, seconded by Mr. Farnsworth. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, we will call for the vote. Motion carries. We are in executive session and we will return. Board members, at this time, I would ask for a motion to return to open session.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Guthrie, seconded by Ms. Powell. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, we will call for the vote.
Voice vote, yes.
All right, and Evan is a yes. Motion carries 7 in favor. Okay, board members, at this time, do we have any action from our executive session? All right, thank you, Mr. Farnsworth. We have a motion to accept the personnel recommendation as presented. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Bates. Any question or discussion? All right, hearing none, we will call for the vote. It's okay, no rush. Ms. Bates. Evan is a yes.
Oh, did mine finally pop up with it? Sorry.
Motion carries 7 in favor. Board members, at this time, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made by Ms. Bates, seconded by Mr. Lee. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, we will call for the vote.
Voice vote, yes.
Evan is a yes.
Are you logged out?
Oh, Cynthia. What is that, a no? Motion carries 6 in favor, 1 opposed. We are adjourned.